You are listening to High Heels and High Chairs, voted the best online resource for busy moms who wish to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit up and sippy cups. Whether you're a new mom, a grandmom, a future mom, or somewhere in between, you'll love these priceless tips, tricks, and tools you will learn today. Here is your host, top female fat loss and hormone specialist, Dr. Michelle Sands.
Hi, and welcome back to High Heels and High Chairs, where we are talking about how to stay strong, sexy, and centered in a world of spit-up and sippy cups. I'm your host, Dr. Michelle Sands, and today I'm so excited to bring back a great friend of mine and an awesome practitioner, Carla Atherton. She is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, a yoga instructor, and she's the director of the Lotus Health Project, a functional health educator. She researches like crazy, more than anyone I know. She has a podcast that's amazing, and she loves to write, talk, lecture, and create workshops that encourage women, moms, and families to live healthier, happier lives. She loves empowering individuals, children, and their families to really get inspired and empowered to make a difference in their lives and live a full, passionate, happy life. So, Carla, thanks so much for being here. I just love speaking with you.
I love speaking with you too, Michelle, and thanks so much. I'm just honored to be part of another one of your events.
Oh, I just wouldn't be the same without you, Carla. So, Carla, for people who don't know you yet, I'd love to get a little bit of background of like why you do what you do, what inspires you to go get up every day and talk about health and happiness for families.
I don't know. I mean, I think maybe the first thing that came to mind was my kids. You know, I mean, and then they're the catalyst for a lot of the stuff that I do, but also, not only my kids but myself, right? Because I love this stuff. I love talking to people about. I don't mean myself as in, it's like, all about me, but I mean that my own drive and my own vision and feeling like, okay, what is it like for me to feel good and for me to feel happy? And I want that for other people as well. And I know that we all we all struggle with these kinds of things as being moms and, like trying to juggle all the stuff that we juggle every day nowadays. Like it's just insane. But we have this opportunity to do these things that we want to do that bring us life, that, and health and happiness, but also to, make that work with, with all the other things that we have to do every day, which one of those things, of course, is raising children. So, and then getting back to my kids, really seeing them struggle with certain health issues is not fun. And so when I had that happen, especially with my daughter's diagnosis of type 1 diabetes in 2012, it was just like, it just hit me that there was something more that we needed to be doing and something we were missing, right? So that's when I really understood that there was more to this thing called health than just kind of like making sure you eat your broccoli, but you could still eat all the junk you wanted, or like, right? Or that we're sort of
exactly.
Like, right?
What I love is the way you share your personal stories in helping other people, because I think in our day and age now where everybody's kind of in their own little box and we're going to our work and we're doing all of our things and our responsibilities, a lot of times we don't really get to connect with other women and moms like they used to back in the day when they used to go to the river and wash their clothes together. They would talk about things. They'd talk about what's going on in their life. They talk about what their kids are doing, what their problems are, what their struggles are, what their fears are, and then they have that support of other women who are also going through the same thing. So now we have social media, we have Facebook, we have Pinterest, where everyone's posting like great, awesome, Photoshop, beautiful pictures of themselves and their kids. And then we're thinking, oh, we're the only ones that don't have it all together. Like, why are we the only ones that struggle? So I love when you're teaching and when you're emailing and really getting the word out, you're always sharing a little personal story about yourself so that we can kind of relate to you. We can know that we're not alone. So I love the way you do that.
Thank you, Michelle. And you know what? That's really important to me because there's this whole like idea that, you have experts, you have people who are professionals in the field, you have people who've been there, done that, like, the elders or the mentors and all that stuff. And then we have this like false sense of the idea that women who are, you think you've got it all together and who are beyond maybe where you are at this moment in your life, that there's some kind of like idea that there's this perfection that we're not going to be good enough until we hit that point, until we're where this guru is at. And really, like, I don't think any of us are gurus. I mean, I think all of us can teach each other. And yeah, some of us are sort of like more down the line in this experience. You know, some people who have a baby might be in a different experiential position than someone who's got teenagers, or someone who's a grandparent, or someone who's like really just at the beginning of understanding, let's say, holistic health, and someone who's really understands it, has done all the research, has done all the work on themselves and their kids, and they're feeling pretty good now, as opposed to someone who's like just at the beginning with a child with a chronic illness or is ill themselves, fatigued, overweight, tired, don't really know. They know what they need, but they don't quite have it all together. But I think that there's always something else to reach for, and there's always a story, and there's always times where any of these people are at the point where they need to learn more. They learn from each other, they learn from other experts, or they learn from people who you might consider at a different, like a more of a beginning phase of their life. But really, like, we learn a lot from people that are going through that as well. So
definitely.
I really like how you said that.
Every day. I learn from my patients every day. I learn from the other experts on the Senate. So yeah, I mean, definitely, that's so true. So they really want to learn from you. And the topic we're talking about is slow family life. So what does that mean to you? Like, when you say slow family life, what does that mean first?
I love that topic. Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting you. I'm like, woo, I just want to talk about it so bad. I mean, okay, because so if we back up, okay, so let's go back to my story, okay, why did my daughter get this diagnosis, okay, so why are, my kids struggle with the other issues that we've have struggled with? Why did I become fatigued and gain 30 pounds when I turned 35? Like, seriously, I was like not doing well at one point in my life where I just didn't know what happened. Why did I fall apart? And why does anybody have that happen to them when the real root of the issue is always stress? It's just always stress, whether it be, like stress coming from like, physical things, to stress coming from like overscheduled, being overscheduled, or mental emotional stress that's like, people honking at you all day, or there's always living in this fight or flight. Michelle, you know all about this. So, all of those things that are piled on us in this day and age, it's stress. And one of those things that causes stress is that we are ramped up and going way, 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 way too fast. We're not smelling the roses. We're not looking at each other in the eye. We're not, like you were talking about Facebook, right? Yeah, we've got tons of friends, but we don't have any friends. I mean, like, those aren't friends. I mean, maybe some of them are, but they're quote unquote friends. It's a nice tool. It's a good way to get people like videos or pictures pretty easily. It's a quick hi and happy birthday. But seriously, we don't slow down to look at anything in Facebook that actually makes it matter to us. But I digress. But I mean, things that like overscheduling our kids and ourselves, not taking the time to rest and repair, to have proper sleep. When we're too fast, we don't eat properly. We don't care about eating properly. We don't even know what it means to eat properly because we don't even make that stuff ourselves. Because we turn to convenience. We turn to like things that are going to make everything that go easier because we're going too fast to actually do these things ourselves. So I just think
a lot of times our goals are like how fast can we get this done so we get on to the next thing instead of actually
And what is that life, Michelle? Like, yeah, what is that?
Yeah, so
is that a real life? Is that experiencing your life, or do you just look back and go, where the heck did that whole year go? I don't remember 2015 because I ran through it. And okay, I'm just going to say to parents right now and moms listening, I get it. There are going to be times when you're going to have to just do stuff bam, 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 bam all through the day because you've got 3 kids. One's going this way. It's like herding cats, I call it. They're all going in different directions, and they're all these growing people and having these experiences, and you got to manage it all. I mean, not to mention the bills and the, whatever happens in the household. And you're like you're the head coach. You're the quarterback of the football team. Okay.
And it's easier said than done, right?
Yep.
Like if you have my son's only one, so he doesn't really have agenda. Like his agenda is my agenda, so I'm lucky right now. But my friends whose kids are teens or preteens, they have these schedules. These kids now have these schedules, games and practices and dance recitals and activities. And, you don't want to tell your kids they can't do things, right? You want them to have these experiences. But when you have more than one child, these schedules can get a little bit crazy where you're running from one to the next to the next. And so I know we're talking about that's not a good thing, but I'd love to hear your take on what do we do about it? What is a mom who's experiencing this, like how, without making her, just telling her kids they can't do stuff. Yeah. What's the happy medium there?
Well, I think, for one thing, weed it out. Weed out what they need to do and what they don't. What's feeding their soul and what you're giving them to do to fill up some time. So sometimes they're doing stuff because, we think that they should be concert pianists, right? Because, that really develops the brain really well, and, they need to take piano and music. I love music, and I think music is a wonderful, phenomenal skill, a creative process. It's a beautiful thing. But if it's not something that child really wants to do, that's just scratched off the list. There are plenty of other things for your kids to do that they actually want to do and are engaged in. So that's the first thing. Weed out the things they don't need to do. Also, like things that other people tell you to do that doesn't really fit right for you, but they say, oh, it's gonna make your kids this and make your kids that. You shouldn't miss out. Doing things that you're doing out of maybe fear of being left behind or your kids being left behind, and out of obligation and out of your own sort of desire to make them into little beings that you think they should be instead of allowing them to become who they are. So I would first weed out all that crap. Okay, I'm just going to say that right now. That is not important. Keep the stuff. Okay, so let's say you've got a bunch of stuff left that each and every one of those children wants to do. Okay, so my next thought is to be creative. How are you going to make that work for everybody? And if it's, who's going to take this person there to give you some time to actually do the things you want to do, or who's going to, and maybe they can pick a couple of things or one thing each per season. If you've got 3 kids, one thing each is a lot. That's plenty.
Right.
And right, it's a lot. Especially if they're kids that go to school. Not all kids go to school. They might have other things they're doing during the day. But it's really important to make sure that you have limits, right? We want them all. We want our kids to do everything they want to do, but I don't think they'll be missing out if they don't do everything they want to do right now.
Right.
And that's okay. To say we have limits.
You're kind of training your kids. I kind of feel almost when they're doing everything, we're kind of training them to be in that rush mode that we're in throughout their whole life, right? Because they're not really going to enjoy soccer if they're thinking about they have to get to music lessons right afterwards. Kids need time to decompress too. They're just little humans. I always say, your kids are just little humans. So if you're stressed out by having to go to cut them around to all the practices, you're pretty stressed out doing all the activities.
That's a good point. I love that. That's awesome. And too, how about, one time I was actually given the advice to let your child ask you to do something or for something for a year before you actually enroll them. And I was like, what? That's a long time. And then it doesn't have to be a year, but I actually did that.
I think my mom had that advice given to her. I think my mom might have had that advice given to her. I was begging her to do stuff. And I had to wait, I felt like forever. I think she got the 5-year plan or something, but that's really interesting.
Well, yeah, we don't want to go too far with that. But, the whole idea is to make sure that that's something that they really want to do, and it's not just something they're jumping into because so-and-so did it or they felt they should or whatever, and it looked good now. It's a shiny new object, but then they don't want to do it really, and you're dragging them in, a month or two to this event that you paid for, because they're like, well, I paid for it, and we better go, and, so make sure that they want to do it. And so I think that's a really good thing. Delayed sense of gratification, again, slowing down. Do we really want this? You're really able to see what you need in your life and what you don't, and what's going to elevate your kids and what's not. And third thing, how do we do this? Okay, so third thing is, I'm going to tell everybody over and over and over again, take care of yourself. And I'm sure every single one of your speakers has said this. So take care of yourself first. Because if you are not able to do this, you can't bring it to life. You can't be, there for your kids. If you're fatigued, you feel like heck, and you're bitter. I mean, we can get us moms can get bitter and resentful when all we do is give. That's no fun. Nobody wants that from you, and nobody wants that from you. So don't keep doing that. I mean, that's just, we don't need to live in that space. So take care of yourself, and that you're important, you matter, and what's going to happen if you're not there, right? So that's first and foremost. Plus, you're teaching your kids how to take care of themselves by leading by example. If you don't do it, they're going to say, yeah, right, Mom, like you don't even do it. What are you telling me to do that for? Oh,
it's so true. I always say that kids will learn from what you do, not what you say. Like, kids will, even when it comes to not eating your vegetables, your kids are not going to want to eat the vegetables. Or if you make a face or you say, ew, peas, they're not eating peas either, It's like, it's so funny because, like, and it's true the other way, too. If you're excited about broccoli, your kids are also going to be excited about broccoli because they're learning from you.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're always stressed out, it's the same like you're saying. Like when you're stressed out running around, you're teaching that behavior. You're actually teaching it, and they're going to model it.
Yeah. And when they do that, Michelle, again, back to the stress, back to that fast pace of life, and they just aren't going to enjoy their lives the way you want them to. You want them to slow down and smell the roses. You want them to enjoy every moment of every day, although it's not really possible. But, that you want them to have an enriched experience, because isn't that why we're here? So, and I'm thinking about you with your little one. Like, your little guy's 1. And I remember those days, and those were actually, even though they seemed busy, right? Like, we're changing diapers. We got to get them all ready to go. We're very physically involved in their day-to-day. We're giving them baths. We're like, okay, not getting enough sleep. Okay, here they are. They're up again. They're kind of unpredictable sometimes, right? We have all those things.
Oh, yeah.
It's still that age, they still slow you down because you can't. You just can't do everything else. Well, you just can't. And so they slow you down, especially those newborn, months where you just like, it's just you and that baby. And to remember how precious that is and carry that on through their growth and have those moments with your 8-year-old, with your 10-year-old, with your 15-year-old, with your 20-year-old still, it's just enriching for your own life, for your own experience, and for that relationship you have with that child and that child's memory of growing up, right? It's just a beautiful thing.
Oh my God, I love that you're saying that, because sometimes me and my son will just sit on the floor and we'll literally just be like staring at each other and just laughing, and we'll just look at each other and laugh at each other. And sometimes that's like the best time of the day. We're just enjoying each other's company and the expressions on our faces, and we just have so much fun.
My next, the point that I really wanted to make was, about that, just about that self-care. And I love that you're sharing the story about you and your son and that experience that you have with him at those stages of life when he's really little, and I think that's just, like I said, something that we really need to carry on throughout our lives and remember that we need to stop. We need to connect. We need to be able to really think about the decisions that we make. Even like when we're cooking together or we're sitting down to a family meal, those are ways to connect with each other and ourselves, and just slow down instead of eating in the car and stopping at fast food restaurants, all these things that are just really unhealthy for us, and that take away from our experience of our living. And so I think it's extremely important to remember what it is we're here to do. What is it, and really, actually, what it is we're here to be more than what we are here to do. And as moms, we can really get away from that and from remembering that and get really caught up in the day-to-day survival mode. And we want to thrive, right? We want and deserve to thrive.
Well, it's really interesting, when you actually do slow down and take the time to, really be present in what you're doing, and not worrying about those other things, like it is more enjoyable, right? And so I'd rather do one or two really enjoyable things than 10 not so enjoyable things. And sometimes it has to do a little bit of an ego thing. Sometimes you have to put your ego aside because all the other moms are doing 15 activities with their kids and you're only doing 5. But
you're getting left behind.
If you're enjoying that 5, then you've already beat out the other moms doing the 15 because I can guarantee you they're not enjoying doing that many things.
Yeah, and then when you slow down, you give other people permission to do the same. You give your kids the permission to do the same. You encourage other moms to do the same, and then you have like true relationships with those people that you can slow down with. Like I remember, we some other moms that I was became very good friends with. We would spend 6 hours just being on the side of the river and letting our kids go nuts in the sand, dirty, and we just did that. We just spent all that time. And then we'd be like, what are you doing for supper? You want to just come over? Like, we gave each other the space and the time for that. And I think there's a real movement that we can have, amongst our communities of women, that we just give ourselves the permission to do that, and our kids too. And those are the most beautiful memories that I have. And memories aren't just, stuff that's gone. It's stuff that stays with us. It's stuff that makes us feel good, like, all the time, every time we pull that up. So, yeah, I think that's very important, this whole idea, slowing down, reducing the stress, and just, letting go of that whole idea of what perfection is.
Yeah, it can be hard sometimes. It can be hard if you're just starting to embrace this kind of lifestyle. You can kind of feel like you might be missing out or that someone's doing more than you. But it's really just about what you want. You just have to go back to remembering what feels good, what your body wants, and what you want, and what's best for you and your family. I think that's what we have to keep reminding ourselves, and not what we're supposed to do or what everybody else is doing. And it can be hard at first. I totally get it. But I think we're constantly reminding yourself about why you're doing things, and are you enjoying them.
Yep, exactly.
Awesome. So can you tell us, you actually host a really interesting summit that I think a lot of people would love to hear more about. So it's called the Children's and Teen Health Summit. So can you talk a little bit about what you talk about there and how people can find out more about it?
Yeah, of course. Well, so the summit is all about, it's distilling information and the thoughts and of experts and other children's health advocates like myself, and I guess we consider it family health advocacy, to give parents like a nice package of information, support, community, to find out more about how we live this thing called health, how we, lead the charge of our families into, a better way of taking care of ourselves, because I think that now, nowadays it's really actually hard to be healthy, and it shouldn't be. Like that, it really shouldn't be hard to be healthy. It should actually be hard to be sick. And so, but a lot of, right, like it should take effort to be sick. But in our day and age, like I said, what we're talking about being fast and the amount of stress, the amount of information that's out there that people just can't even handle and deal with, all that stuff is confusing us, and it's making our kids sick because of convenience, right? We're trying to do so many things now that a lot of the stuff that our healthful practices have gone by the wayside, and our kids are actually really suffering for it. And ourselves too. People are getting all kinds of things like ADHD and autism's just like skyrocketing. We have kids who have type 2 diabetes, which was unheard of, years gone by. So, we're really like bringing together a community of speakers who can speak to a whole range of topics that deal with the body, mind, and spirit, every aspect of that child's health, to give parents and caregivers that empowerment to be able to make the right decisions that are for them and their kids. So it's a really exciting event. We have like family fun challenges and stuff like that go on in the Facebook group, we have giveaways and not to mention 27 brilliant speakers, I might say, that are talking about a lot of stuff. So it's really juicy, and it's just like a grand event. It starts May 2nd and goes until the 9th.
Oh, that's beautiful. I think it's a great transition from learning how to take care of yourself and to be a more fuller, happier parent to moving on to learning how to take care of the kids. So I think that's a great transition. People can go right from this to that. And so I'll go ahead and put a link to the Children's and Teens Health Summit right next to this interview. And then, Carla, you also have a great little gift for everyone listening. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I do, but you know what? I always change my mind and I add stuff because I'm creative that way. But I do have a Caring for the Caregiver package that I love to share with people. So I'm going to share that with your community. And I have also that I've created the challenge of promoting self-care for your teens, which is a really that's a challenge. That's those little guys, those guys are doing what you're doing. If you demonstrate it, they'll do it. But those teenagers, it's a whole new story, and they have a lot of things in their lives that's not exactly healthy. so that's another thing that I would love to share with your community, Michelle.
Oh, wonderful. I'll tuck it away for 10 more years when Paxton is getting approaching.
It'll come fast enough.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Carla. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you and to hear your little stories and get your advice. So you really do know your stuff. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a real pleasure, Michelle.
Oh, thank you. It's always so much fun. So thank you, Carla, again, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I hope that you got a lot of value out of today's interview. And I really hope that you'll go ahead and download the Caring for the Caregiver PDF package and start really taking care of yourself and get some great tips from Carla. And then join her over at the Children's and Teens Health Summit on May 2nd. So all those links are right here next to it. Have a great day, you guys, and then we'll be back here tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you received a lot of value out of this interview. I know that I did. I want you to open up to the possibility of making this new year the greatest opportunity that you have had so far to improve your life. This is about breaking out of paradigms. It's about learning the art of living. It is about honoring who you are as a woman as you discover who you are as a mother. It is about taking care of your body, mind, and spirit so that you can take better care of your family and be a shining example, a role model for your children so that they can grow up to be healthy, happy, and successful. I promise to continue to bring you educational, empowering, and inspiring content to help you achieve the body that you dream about and the life that you are meant to live. Stay tuned for more value-packed interviews, and be sure to check out all of the resources on my website, metabolicmama.com. Until next time, wishing you a happy, healthy, hot day. Take care, mamas.